Hello, I'm Tim Black for TBTV. Thank you for tuning into this show. This is Coffee with Tim Black. Let's talk about Charlotte. Like, wow, Tim, you got on that pretty quick, didn't you? Yes, I did. Charlottesville, Virginia. Case in point, drama, Friday through Saturday. It ended in a state of emergency. We had a death. We had actually 3 deaths in Charlottesville. And now the news won't stop talking about it. It's everywhere. So let's unpack it a little bit and let's get to the bottom. I'm going to give you the facts of the story. Then we're going to jump to my commentary. First of all, why are all these people there? Well, Charlottesville had decided they wanted to remove a statue of Robert E. Lee, a Confederate general from the Civil War period, who some white nationalists love. Yeah, some people want to take down the statue. We got people who want to keep the statue in place. A lot of the people that want to keep this statue in place are from Virginia. They came from wherever they came from to descend upon Charlottesville in march in protest to the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue. That's why they were there. Okay. They got permits, okay? The white nationalists that appeared there, they got permits. That's why they were there. They had permits to march. This was planned. Cops knew they were coming. The state knew they were coming. The city knew they were coming. They didn't just show up and say, we're gonna do this, okay? They had approval by the state to be there. So when Terry McAuliffe says, get these people out of here, they gotta get the hell out of here, get the hell out of our state, you knew they were coming. You knew they were coming. Next thing I want to talk about, white nationalists. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, white nationalists are organizations that believe that in white supremacy, that white people are the best people, the only people that matter. All other people, people of color, of any color, be they black, Latino, Asian, whatever, these people are beneath white people. That's the ideology. That's what white nationalism is. It comprises of many groups. You know, includes groups like Ku Klux Klan, skinheads, neo-Nazis, all this stuff, but it also includes lesser scary groups or lesser scary sounding groups. We got groups called like the American Freedom Party. Like, what? American Freedom Party? I like that, man. I want freedom, and I think life's a party. Let's go just sign up. And then you walk in the door, and it's a bunch of neo-Nazis and Confederates who think you're subhuman. It's not cool. Okay, so yes, there are a lot of organizations that fall under the tent of white nationalism or white nationalists. And they were in the house. Okay? All right. Now, I do want to add that some white nationalist organizations are not like, okay, let's go hurt some black people or hurt some gays or hurt some Jews or hurt some people. They're like more intellectual and they want to fight for policies that in the end put black people further on the bottom, as if that's even possible, and also marginalize other people. And while, amplifying or raising up or empowering white people, because we know they're so powerless in this country. And that was a joke. Let's move on to what happened yesterday at the event. Okay, first of all, there was an event Friday at a church. They had tiki lamps and they were all, Heil Trump and all this stuff or whatever. And that's what went on Friday as they declared victory of being able to be there and gather. And on Saturday, that's when the clashes happened. We have anti-protesters, people protesting the protesters who came to protest about the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue. And that clash, and we all know about the plowing down that occurred, where a young man by the name of James Alex Fields, 20 years old, he took his car and drove it into a crowd of people, injuring 19 or so people, killing one Heather Heyer, 32-year-old woman who was there. So he took a life yesterday. And if you go on some websites, you'll see them making the claim that, this young man was just afraid and he didn't mean to do it. He was just afraid because he was in this mob and he just drove. And it was not his intention. That's what they said. And it looked very intentional to me. And I think you should go watch the footage if you want to draw your own conclusions on that. Looked like he just drove into those people, then backed away. And looked like he meant to do it. He didn't get out of his car. I don't know. Look, it looked to me like he meant to do what he did. It did not look like it was an accident. I didn't see brakes being applied before hitting, before running into a mob of people standing in the street. So that's what happened with that. We also had 2 officers who were killed in a helicopter crash in Charlottesville yesterday while they were attending to the Terry McAuliffe emergency plan, So while they were flying in resources and doing their jobs, the helicopter crashes. Horrible things had happened following this, and we want to say condolences to those families who lost people in what I feel was needless. So that's the facts. Now let's get into what we think about it. First of all, the whole label thing, I'm not into labels. I don't got time to label these people. If you hate me because of the color of my skin, I really have no time for you. Why would I sit around and waste my energy trying to put you in certain groups? If that's your ideology, fine, go with it. Continue to live out your days. Believe in what you believe. If you don't want to change your opinion, you're not interested in finding out that people are people, for the most part, if you don't want to find that out, hey, man, hey, look, go do you. I do not have time for that. I don't know all the groups. If you're there protesting, if you're there to say, hey, I want to keep the Confederate monument up for my ancestors who wanted to keep slaves, and who kept slaves, well, then, you're in that group. You're in that group, period. Just own it. Just say, I'm in that group. Let's not argue about what kind of group it is, right? All right, so that's it. On that point, I got to ask, man, and this is something that needs to be said. Why? Why were there protesters there to protest these people marching? Why were they there? Okay, they were there because they were upset. Were they there because someone flew them in? I don't know, but here's the thing. These white nationalist organizations of 500 people, that's how many people they had there. That was not enough people the way I feel. They weren't destroying the property. They weren't threatening people. They were saying horrible things. Were they going up to people, hurting people? What were they doing? I need more information because I haven't seen that yet. The sheer fact that they exist does not mean that we need to go clash with those people and then give them a 24-hour, 48-hour news cycle so they can further recruit more people to their stupidity and their hatred. The way that you beat and get this Robert E. Lee statue out is to continue to fight in court like the state was doing or like the city was doing. That's what you continue to do. Cursing at skinheads who have embedded in their brains that they hate black people. How are you changing them? You're not changing them. I don't believe that we're going to kumbaya our way through with people who are screaming black people are subhuman and Jews are the devil and, whatever. I don't believe that that's going to happen. But I also don't believe in giving them a bunch of free publicity. So that's how I feel about that. Donald Trump made a statement, and it was a very reserved statement regarding this. He didn't even speak specifically about the names of the organizations. He just said everybody needs to just love everyone, and why can't we all get along and just be friends? Totally, and I know he would have done something different. I feel he'd done something different if it was some radical Islamic terrorists. He would have no problem labeling that and saying we need to get them out of the country. But since it's some good old boys, white nationalists, who voted for him, he's got to be a little tiptoe around that thing a little bit. Because these people voted for him. I mean, yeah, I don't agree with it. But this is the other side of it that needs to be said. So, first of all, I do not agree. I feel that Trump should have came out harder and called these people what they say they are. Like, if they say, I am a white nationalist, you can call them that. Even if they don't say they're white nationalists and white supremacists, but they want to erect a statue or keep a statue in place that says white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, then yeah, you could call them that. So let's not say Trump is now afraid to call it what it is. He called out, all these people on the campaign trail. Now he's shy. Now he's reserved. He was just talking about fire and fury a minute ago. He was bold enough to say fire and fury about them North Koreans. He can't even call a murderer, a white nationalist murderer who came there to be a part of a rally, mowed down individuals who had done nothing to him. Trump can't call that out. So that's the thing about Trump. Here's the other thing. Let's not forget that we had similar marches. We've had marches like this all through our history. This is not new. Racism is not new. America was built on racism. 300, almost 400 years of slavery because of the color of someone's skin. And then you say, okay, let me go ahead and give you some rights in the 60s. And okay, everything's cool now. And these people who have believed that black people are subhuman all this time, because that's what's been preached by their government. That's what their government policy said. That's exactly what it said. And now we got generations of people that believe stuff who pass that down to their kids. And you say, no, we just kidding about that whole black thing, about them being less than human. We just joking, y'all. We don't believe that. Let's all get along. But that's gonna take a lot more time, maybe a little bit more time than 50 years. Maybe just a little bit longer. And let's not pretend that under Obama we didn't have similar problems. Let's know that. And Obama may have come out and he would have said, hey, these are white nationalists, white supremacy has no place in this country, we're all a country of one or something like that. But that wouldn't have changed the thoughts, the minds of these idiots, of these racists. It would not have changed the minds of these racist white nationalists or white supremacists that were marching in Charlottesville. So let's not pretend it would. We need actions to go along with words. What actions can you put in place to fight back white supremacy? Will Donald Trump do that? Probably not. Well, did Obama do that? Please send me letters because I didn't see it. I saw good speeches or emotional speeches that made people feel like we got hope, and then like no policy that would actually make that thing happen. That's how I see it. All right, so that's another thing. What else? So yeah, let's look at it for what it is and accept reality about race. Racism is not going away, and those people who think that racism is a new thing, that Trump invented it, no, he didn't invent it, he just used it. He used it. He used it to great effect. That's what he did. He used bigotry. He used the other stuff, the othering, and these people are bad. And I also want to say this before I forget. David Duke, Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan formerly, very popular, known as an icon in the white nationalist genre. That's like their guy. Well, he said, we are determined to take our country back. That's why we voted for Donald Trump. David Duke's not missing words, man. He's just telling you straight up. We voted for Trump because we want our country back. He was going to take our country back, and that's what he needs to do, and that's why we're here. Take our country back. From who? Poor black people. Poor black people own everything, right? We own everything. We own less than, what, 5% of the land in this country? What have we taken? If we own 5% of the land, what are we taking? Please, white nationalist people who watch this video, if black people are 14% of the population but only own 2% of land in America, what are we taking? And be specific. What I believe is what I've always believed, is that we have poor white people who feel like they got the wrong end of the stick, who think because they white they should have more stuff. Mad at black people who have really nothing because these racists told them to be mad at them. And not realizing you don't have anything, not just because you white, because you ain't in the big club that George Carlin talked about. You ain't supposed to have nothing. When we got 1% of rich white people in this country with everything. Like 2 of them are worth more than like 4 million of us put together. You realize that. And you're mad about poor black people, or poor Latino people, poor Mexicans. And so you focus all your energy and hate on the people that have nothing to do with what you're really upset about, which is lack of stuff. lack of medical care, I don't even know if you're mad about lack of medical care. I don't know what you're mad about. Whatever you pissed off about, you pissed off with the wrong people. That happens all the time. And you continually being pissed off with the wrong people instead of looking at the power structures to put these things in place. And if black people and white people and Latino people ever got together and decided they were going to go against the ruling class in this country, maybe there can be some changes. But as long as you have in your brain that it's the problem is Muslims, the problem is Mexicans, then you never get anywhere. I believe that it's not about how many people come to this country. It's not about how many minorities in this country. It's about the ruling elite in this country wanting to keep most of the stuff. And if they wanted to actually create new jobs, they could create more jobs than we can handle in this country in a snap of the finger if we ever went to green energy. If we ever went to green energy, we could create more jobs for as many people that can have them or that would be available to take them. There are solutions that could be made. They don't want to make those solutions. Do you understand? They don't want to. There's got to be winners. There's got to be losers in order for capitalism to survive. We could all be winners. They don't want us all to be winners. That's what I believe. I believe they could. It must be a reason why. So you tell me why they won't create more green jobs. Why won't we get off fossil fuel? Why don't we start creating our own energy at home using white people, black people, Native American people, Latinos, all of us here, Asian folks, all of us here creating these jobs or creating these new energy sources and stop importing oil from other countries? Why won't we do that? What's the reason? And then you got people who are out of work or people who are pissed off because they can't raise their families like they could just do 30 years ago. And now they're not as pissed off. They're not pissed off at all. Maybe they have what they need in their lives to have a decent life. You may not end up being, Robert Downey Jr., but you can have a good life and raise some happy kids who go on to do some things too. So that's how I see this whole thing. In a nutshell, our energy is focused on the wrong people. And it always has been. These people told you the reason why you have problems in your life is because of these guys over here, and people believe it, and then they ride down the hill. Now we have 3 people dead in Charlottesville, 2 police officers, 1 woman, Heather Heyer, and it's all for what? And meanwhile, we're making the big to-do about 500 racists that came to Charlottesville. And now they will get more publicity than people who are doing great work every day. Every day. And now the idiots get the publicity. And that publicity and that awareness that the mainstream media just gave these people, now that will encourage their growth. And for that young man that ran through that crowd of people, you're 20 years old and your life is effectively over. You were used by this thought, these powers that gave you this information, and now your life is over. You'll never have a normal life. James Alex Fields, he didn't just become this way because of Trump. Trump may have helped, and the rhetoric about race may have helped, but James Alex Field had issues before this, and now his life is over, and now he's taken a life. It's just terrific. It's just stupid. All right. Subscribe to this channel. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate y'all. What don't kill us makes us stronger, I guess. Or does it just soften us up for the demise? I don't know. But I'm going to keep going.